I now hand the conference over to Ms. Ankita Shah from Elara Securities Private Limited. Thank you, and over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Lizanne. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Elara Securities, I welcome you all to this earnings conference call for 3Q FY22 for Gati Limited. We're pleased to have with us the management team represented by Mr. Pirojsha Sarkari, CEO, Gati Limited, and Mr. Ravi Jakar, Chief Strategy Officer, All Cargo Logistics. We have opening remarks from the management and followed by question and answer session. Thank you, and over to you, Ravi.
Yeah, thanks. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the Gati Limited Quarter 3 FY22 earnings conference call. This is Ravi Jakar here. I trust all of you and your dear ones and colleagues are well and keeping safe as the COVID wave is hopefully getting down. We hope for the safety and well-being of all your colleagues and family members. I also hope that you've had a chance to look at our results and the earnings presentation which has been uploaded on the stock exchanges and also available on the company website. We have recently had our union budget presented by the Finance Minister, which lays a strong emphasis on logistics and logistics infrastructure to power the growth of the country. As we prepare for next decade of growth on the back of manufacturing-led growth, we believe that we have a great opportunity to play a role in facilitating that growth. And as Gati Limited, we are happy to be part of the consumption-led economic growth on the back of significant developments in logistics infrastructure. It is heartening to note the focus from the government, be it about expanding the national highways or setting up the multimodal logistics parks. And we from our end would continue to contribute with various logistics infrastructure to be set up to facilitate time-bound transport of cargo, which can help further accelerate the country's economic growth. I would now call upon my colleague, Mr. Pirojsha Sarkari Phil, to share his perspective on the industry and how at Gati we are getting ourselves to start the next phase of our growth journey. Over to you, Phil.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Ravi. Before I start speaking, I would like to introduce Mr. Anish Matthew. Anish has joined us as the Chief Financial Officer for Gati. Anish will be on this call, but he will be a spectator for today's call. All the questions may be directed to me, please. With that, let me first start by giving few insights on the overall express industry. As per our internal estimates, express contributes approximately 2.5% to the Indian logistics sector. The logistics sector is poised to grow 10 to 12% CAGR by 2025. Mere 100 basis points market share could double market opportunity for express industry. The total available market spread across surface, air, e-commerce and contract logistics amounts to 52,500 crores approximately. However, we see this as much conservative estimate as there are multiple studies now available in the market which pegs the available market at a much larger number. Thus, Gati finds itself in the most exciting space in the logistics sector, and we at Gati are extremely excited about being an integral part of the future of logistics in our country. Since All Cargo acquisition, Gati is no longer the Gati that people have come to know over the past few years, but a revamped and consciously transformed organization following a strategic roadmap with a streamlined plan for the time to come. In addition to the unparalleled connectivity and reach covering over 99% of the PIN codes across the country, we take pride in having a unique integrated network that sets us apart from any other player in the industry. The centralized line hauling with 19 express distribution centers 23 surface transshipment hubs, and 84 Gati distribution warehouses spread across the widest network in association with a strong web of partners, vendors, extending to over 5,000 plus trucks, a franchisee-based approach and dedicated Gati associates, further enhancing capacities, enabling the first mile and last mile deliveries, and helping the company provide end-to-end service, being the one-stop solution for all levels of the value chain. We are nearing completion of 5 pillars of transformation, which included balance sheet restructuring, debt reduction, profitability, digital, and last but not the least, governance. With Gati 2.0, we are laying down the revised 5 major pillars around which we would position Gati for the next level of sustainable growth. We have revised our focus, sharper eye on profitability through digitization, sales acceleration, industry-leading infrastructure capabilities, streamlining operations, and inducting an experienced talent pool. Diving into each of these major elements one by one, digitization is focused on enhancing the customer's experience on the front end and having seamless operations on the back end, all of this while providing differentiated value-added services to our customers. The recently implemented leading CRM Salesforce shift towards digital payments and deployment of data science would accelerate automation efforts. The aim remains adopting technology-based decision-making on the back of rich and relevant data. Sales acceleration is built around the realignment of the sales team structure and targeted approach towards key account management, MSME and retail, and thereby increasing market share and ensuring the highest levels of service. The refocused approach on alignment of sales team has generated new energy at the organizational level, benefit of which we could experience in the times to come. The focus pyramid is where we believe our priorities are set. We put ourselves high in key enterprise large accounts, which contributes 58% of our overall revenues. However, the segment which we believe has enormous potential and would play a pivotal role in India's growth journey to becoming a 5 trillion economy is the micro, small and medium scale enterprises. There are the entrepreneurs with purpose, and we would like to partner with them and play a small integral role in their success journey, fulfilling their vision. We have designed a special sales task force targeting MSME to position Gati as their preferred supply chain partner. We will help them devise their time to market as well as go to market strategy that will not only help them to expand their reach but also to optimize their inventory levels, leveraging our unique integrated network and supply chain management expertise. Being future ready is what Gati has always been well known about. The asset-light approach remains base decision we take. However, we would like to now aim at further amplifying our infrastructure capability, augmenting the role of scale and automation in our operations. We believe that this is required and would yield tremendous benefits given on the pace and path of recovery and growth that we are targeting. The first express distribution mega hub was inaugurated in Farrukhnagar, Haryana, which will serve the whole of North India with unmatched connectivity. The scale of such facilities is spread across more than 1 lakh square feet, having 89 docks which could simultaneously load 100 trucks and would provide economies of scale and faster turnaround time. Automation, cross-docking, OCR and other processing technology would be deployed, aiming at creating this facility into a world-class material handling and automation infrastructure, as well as safety and technology, process and systems. Continuing a long tradition of employee welfare and benefits at Gati, We have also set up Gati Niwas, residential quarters and kitchen facilities for all our employees as well as drivers at the new hub, ensuring 24/7 availability of sleeping quarters, sanitation facilities, and hot meals for them. With Farrukhnagar, we believe that we have set a template of future infrastructure upgradation and have decided to build 7 mega hubs across the country over the next 2 years. The next 2 hubs with similar facilities and scale will be operational in Mumbai and Bangalore in H1 of FY23, followed by Nagpur, Indore, Hyderabad in H2 of FY23, and then Cochin and Pune in H1 of FY24. Moving on to the fourth pillar, that is operations. It rests on the simple fact that having streamlined operations with a strong balance between superior capabilities and appropriate cost optimization measures is essential to build a market-leading business with good margins, simultaneously capturing a greater market share and delivering a strong financial performance. From transshipment centers and hubs to line haul centralization and digitization, pickup and delivery capacity expansion to improved quality management systems, there are several measures being actively worked upon with the asset-light model at its core. All these efforts are constantly targeting one goal, which is margin improvement. We continue to affirm our guidance of attaining EBITDA margins of 12% explicitly stated in several investor calls earlier. Lastly, the fifth pillar, and one that is often the key differentiator between organizations that are successful and those that are not, is the talent pool. Gati has made significant reinforcements in this regard, adding high quality, next level to mid-level talent locally and globally to bring their rich experience and expertise and catalyze this journey. As I said, recently Mr. Anish Mathew has joined as Chief Financial Officer. Anish has more than 19 years of experience in leadership and advisory roles across financial and business initiatives, organization transformation, and cost reduction. He was earlier associated with Andhra Paper, leading the entire operations, and was key to the Chief Executive Officer on various business and financial matters. He has a rich and diversified industry experience from the consumer, pharmaceutical, pulp and paper and manufacturing sectors, having worked with a few listed companies like International Papers, Pepsi and Usha Martin in his past. Mr. Huafid Nasarwanji has also joined us as Chief Commercial Officer. Huafid has rich industry experience across integrated express, retail, aviation, international forwarding, logistics and supply chain. In the past has been associated with DHL Worldwide Express, UPS Store, Deccan Cargo as well as Mahindra Logistics. Mr. Mehnosh M. Netta has joined as Chief HR Officer. Mehnosh has more than 19 years of experience across consumer, pharmaceuticals, logistics and engineering sectors and has worked with top brands like Asian Paints, Sanofi, Tata Group, Mahindra Logistics and Welspun. There are a few other initiatives that will supplement and aid the core activities along with building a sustainable business. These include launching an electric vehicle fleet for the first and last mile delivery, also encouraging the GAs to adopt the same and further optimize their operating costs in the long run. We have also embarked upon training GAs through etiquette programs and giving them incentive-based rewards leading to higher incentives and better service quality. Our initiative towards better corporate governance is an ongoing one. More than 70% of the Gati KW board being independent is just a stepping stone for future initiatives on this front. With this, I would now talk about consolidated financial performance. I would give an update of Q3 and share highlights of operational and financial performance for the 9-month period ended FY22. First, I will cover the financials for Q3 and then for 9 months. Quarter 3 consolidated revenue increased from 394 crores to 416 crores, an increase of 6%, and 4% increase from 401 of current year previous quarter. Gross profit for the quarter was down by 4% from rupees 98 crores to 94 crores, and the reported consolidated EBITDA degrew by 34% from 25 crores to 16 crores for the quarter. Quarter 3 PBT before exceptional items was 4 crores. I will now talk about consolidated performance on a year-to-date basis. Revenue grew by 24% from 894 crores to 1,109 crores. Gross profit grew from 226 crores to 258 crores, an increase of 14%. And similarly, EBITDA grew by 41%. PBT at a loss of negative 2 crores compared to a negative of 25 crores in the same period last year. GKEPL, which is our key subsidiary, has reported revenue growth of 21% year-on-year. The surface segment, which remains the largest contributor to our GKEPL performance, has posted highest ever tonnage of 265,000 tons with a growth of 11%. Adjusting for one-time transformation expense, the EBITDA stood at 20 crores with a margin of 5.7%. Our Air Express business, post rebranding and focused approach, has been able to achieve new quarterly milestone in terms of tonnage handled and quarterly revenues. Air now contributes 5% to GKEPL top line, which grew by 42% year-on-year. Supply chain business registered a degrowth of 11%. Despite higher utilization, the revenue has declined as we are coming out of low-margin, loss-making contracts in this business. I believe we have provided ample other data points which we share on regular basis in the presentation, which could be further referred for performance comparison. With this, we can now open the floor for question and answers. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin with the question and answer session. Anyone wishing to ask a question may please press star and 1 on your touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Rajat from iThought. Please go ahead.
Hi, thanks for the opportunity. So my question pertains to GKEPL. What was the gross margin in this quarter and what was it last quarter? And what is the achievable gross margin for us? You have mentioned that it is 30% plus. If you can give a range, that will be helpful. And what are the constraints that we are not able to achieve that margin so far, despite achieving the scale?
I could not hear him at all. It was very...
Sorry, is it better now?
Yes.
Okay, my bad. So, sir, my question was, it pertains to GKEPL. So, what is the gross margin in this quarter, and what was it last quarter? And what is the achievable gross margin number for us? And what are the constraints that we are not able to achieve those gross margins as of now, despite achieving a very good scale?
So the gross margin for this quarter was 25.7%. Previous quarter, 27.7%. Basically, like I had said in the earlier call also, we are in the process of making Gati a customer-centric organization and therefore doing everything to make sure that the service to the customer is our first priority. In the bargain, yes, the gross margin has taken a hit, but then once we consolidate our operations, you will see from quarter one of next year, the gross margin is rising. Some of the reasons for this, basically, as you know, we are a network organization. We need to make sure that our trucks leave on time every time and reach on time every time. There is something called cooling that is practiced in some of the industry players, whereby if a truck does not have that much capacity, you hold the truck, build up the capacity and then release it. But then your promise to your customer fails. So we are making sure that we are coming back to being absolutely customer-centric. And as these processes stabilize, the gross margin will come back. I hope I've answered your question.
And what is the range of gross margin that you think is achievable over, let's say, next 2 years?
So more than next 2 years, I'd say by next year, our gross margin should be in the vicinity of 29 to 30%.
And is that the sustainable level, or do you think there will be scope to improve from there also?
Absolute scope to improve even from there.
Okay, understood. And sir, on the second question...
Sorry to interrupt. Mr. Rajat, may we request that you return to the question queue? There are participants waiting for their turn.
Okay.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to ensure that the management is able to address questions from all participants in this conference, we request you to limit your questions to 2 per participant only. The next question is from the line of Prateek Kumar from Antique Stock Broking. Please go ahead.
Hello, morning sir. My first question is on your facilities and the large hubs which you are creating. So Faruk Nagar being first. So what is the kind of capex which we put on such facilities going forward, like per facility? And I guess it would be asset-light model. So these are like rented facilities, or how do they work?
So you are right, Pratik. These are leased facilities. We take long leases. These are built-to-suit facilities, which means we work with the investor and landlord together to build out facilities as per our requirement, but it's a lease model. We would take long-term leases anywhere between 6 to 10 years so that the return on investment for the investor also comes in. So the model for the next 7 hubs will also be that of leased facility.
And what is the annual rental percentage these facilities we have? And do they have storage facilities also for warehousing, or these are just the transshipment terminals for quick turnaround? And what is the average size of these terminals?
So the size of the first 3, which is Faruk Nagar, Bombay and Bangalore, are all 100,000 plus square feet. Yes, we are building them for the future, and therefore maybe for a year or 2 we may have some excess space in them which we can give out to some of our customers who require storage space. But the idea of these facilities are not for warehousing. These are transshipment hubs. And therefore, as you can see, even in Faruk Nagar, we have 89 docks. Generally, in a warehouse, you wouldn't need so many docks, right? So, although they are built to suit transshipment hubs, we are building out capacity over the next 5 years or so, and therefore, in the first 1 or 2 years, we would have excess space which we can give out to some customers.
Sure. Thank you, sir. I'll get that.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Shivaji Mehta, an investor. Please go ahead.
Thank you for this opportunity. So there was this news article which we had also put on our website, which stated that we would aspire to achieve a 3,000 crore top line in the next 3 years' time. Firstly, I just want to confirm whether this is a guidance that we stand by. And second, I wanted to understand what is the start date? I mean, the 3 years in, is it by FY25 or is it by FY26?
So yes, this is not a guidance, but this is a statement that we stand by. This basically starting from financial year FY24.
Oh, it starts.
Sorry, FY23.
Okay, FY23 to FY26.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Right. And sir, just one last question on the EBITDA margins. Right now we're guiding for about 12% by FY23. Just a slightly more long term, say by FY25, FY26, given these kind of new mega hubs that we are building, and also with the operating leverage, etc., can these go all the way up to say 13, 14 odd percent?
Yes, of course they can. As we grow our business, the fixed cost leverage starts kicking into the organization, because in express logistics business, the fixed cost does not increase as per the revenue growth in a linear way. So definitely they can increase beyond that.
Right. So just circling back to my first question, I was just looking at the numbers. So we were at a 1,000 crore top line from the express business in FY21. And by FY26, it's going to be a 3x jump, more or less, in your top line. So if you could just give some color, since as you mentioned in your opening remarks, the industry is going to just grow at about 12%. So where is that, that huge additional growth that we are going to be experiencing, where is that really going to come from?
So if we go back into the history of Gati used to be the market leader in this segment. Okay. Then over the past maybe 7 to 10 years is when some other players emerged and took away a fair share of Gati's market. We are resurrecting the brand, as I have said, and there is tremendous opportunity out there. Number one is we must look at this industry size. The top 4 players, who are the organized players in the industry, don't even constitute 50% of the size of the express logistics industry. So there's a huge unorganized market which is there for us to organize and get as our revenue. Secondly, the concentration of MSME customers, that is going to be our focal point. And third, as the Indian economy moves towards the 5 trillion mark, and as manufacturing comes into the country in a larger way, express logistics will be used both for the raw material to come in for manufacturing and for the finished goods for distribution. So there is going to be an enhancement of the market also. One is enhancing the organized from the unorganized, and second is the enhancement of the market itself. So there is tremendous opportunity for a good player to grow.
Right, so that was very helpful. And just one last question, if I may. Since you have such a vast experience of spawning logistics companies in the past, and you've seen so many different facets of the logistics business. Is there any plan going ahead wherein you would want to kind of diversify away into certain other sort of spaces within the logistics sector itself, something like a 3PL or some other sort of a space that you could be looking at?
Absolutely. I never say no to anything. The focus for the next 12 months is to really get Gati a substantial part of the business in express logistics. Post that, we definitely would consider looking at contract logistics, because contract logistics does give a lot of business to express logistics, as you know. If you are going to be doing warehousing, the distribution from that warehouse becomes express logistics in itself. So definitely we'll be looking at that. But right now, as we sit here for the next 12 months at least, we're going to concentrate on growing our express logistics business.
Right. Thank you very much, sir, and wishing you all the very best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rikin Shah from Omkara Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, my question has already been asked by the previous part.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Hemant, an investor. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Good morning. Sir, I would like to know, like with Gati 2.0 and with the cost of optimization, with the change of management, and with the reduction of debt and exiting of loss-making cold chain business. So what has led to the decline in profitability, and what is the outlook going forward, like in the next quarter and in maybe in FY23?
So I did respond to the same question, the very first question, but I will reply again. Basically, as I have said, we are resurrecting Gati, okay? And I use this word resurrecting Gati because in the last 5 to 7 years, Gati, as you know, while the brand was very strong, had distracted itself into doing other activities beyond express logistics. So when All Cargo decided to buy out Gati, it was with the sole intent of growing the express logistics business and growing it under an asset-light model, right? Therefore, the first thing was to make sure that all the other subsidiaries that had been built out were either closed down or sold out, depending on the situation of the subsidiary, and also sell off the owned assets so that we can go through an asset-light model, which is the right model for any logistics company because it provides flexibility as well as it also allows the company to create models as per the requirement of the business. We have been in the last 4-5 months working on making sure that our operations first comes up to the level that it is required for us to give our commitment to the customer. And in that process, yes, we had to compromise a bit, and I use the word compromise a bit on the margins because we have to bring that faith back into the customer. Once our operations are in line with the expectation of the customer volumes will start pouring back in and you will automatically see the gross margins grow.
So, sir, can we assume that things are going to improve from the next quarter and much more improvement can be seen in the next fiscal year?
Yes, you definitely will see much more improvement in the next fiscal year.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll move on to the next question. That is from the line of Radha from B&K Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Hi, Radha.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity, sir. So my question was in terms of the debt. So in June quarter, I believe that our net debt on Gati's book stood somewhere close to around 176 crores. And we had mentioned in the presentation that we have identified some similar amount of non-core assets that will be sold to, and then that will be sold and the proceeds will be used to repay the debt. But in this quarter, I can see that the debt has increased by about 13 crores in Gati KWE. So, would you say that the timeline for the repayment of debt has been increased by a few quarters, and what would be the current net debt as on Gati's book?
So, if you look at Gati, the parent company, the net debt has actually reduced by 7 to 8 crores. We have reduced our term loan for this quarter. In GK, yes, we have increased the working capital by a similar amount because, again, like I said, we want to make sure that the service that we provide to the customers is up to the mark, and that required us to make some quicker payments to our service providers, etc. We are in the process of selling our non-core assets, as I call them, and while the whole organization is behind this, it takes a little time to sell off these assets. But we will show you every quarter sale of assets.
And my next question would be in terms of capex. So just extending my question that the previous participant has also asked about on capex. So just extending that question, can you give us maybe a ballpark figure of what would be the capex required for Gati for the next 2 years?
So like I said, we have embarked on a total asset-light model. All operating units, whether they are hubs, whether they are distribution centers, these will all be taken on lease. Our capex, if at all, will be on replacing material handling equipment as they grow old in the organization. So nothing substantial that I can really put down here towards capex for our growth.
Okay, thank you, sir. So just one last question, if I may. What would be the current market share for the company in Surface Express and Air Express?
So market share is being calculated in many different ways. If you would take just the 5 top players in the industry, which is Safe Express, TCI, Spot On, us, Blue Dart, which are the B2B players, then we would be about 16 to 17% of that.
In Surface Express. And what would it be in Air Express?
Air Express is very difficult to make out because Air Express has to take 2 large into consideration, which carries greater volume on its aircraft, then it is very difficult. But I can only tell you that Air Express is 5% of our total revenue in GKATL.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is on the line of Ashwini Agarwal from Ashmore Investment Management. Please go ahead.
Hi, good morning, Phil. Thank you for all the information and the opening remarks. One question, when you talk about aspirational 12% EBITDA margin, potentially 14% if operating leverage on fixed costs kicks in, the lease payments for all these 7 hubs that you are creating, are you considering them below the EBITDA line, or these expenses would be part of the operating expenses?
No, so we go by the international accounting standards, right? In the
In India, the depreciation and interest would include the lease payments below the line, below the EBITDA line.
Yes.
So in that context, what's the capex that the investors are making on each one of these units?
I told you there is no capex. We are going
not making the landlord is, right?
Sorry?
The landlord is building the facility for your specs.
Correct. So for us as Gati, it's a pure OPEX model.
Yeah, I get that. But what is the investment that the landlord is making in the facility? What would be the cost of land and building? Just out of curiosity.
I really would not be able to say what is the cost of land for sure, because land, as you know, depends on whether this gentleman has owned the land through his ancestry or when did he purchase it, etc. We don't know. Generally, when you look at a hub asset, you don't take land into consideration, otherwise you'll never get return on investment. So land appreciation is what they look at, these landlords. They never look at land to be built into their ROI for the lease rental. You can imagine if in Gurgaon you were to buy a land today and then say I want to build a warehouse and get return on investment, you never get it right. The land part is always the appreciation of the land that you have to take into account.
Okay, let me ask you differently. In Farooq Nagar, what's the lease payment that you're making on a per month basis?
So individual per month leases we don't put out like that. That's not the level of information that we give out.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you and all the best.
You're welcome.
Thank you. The next question is on the line of Meera Vasa from Anand Rathi. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir, and thank you very much for the opportunity. So, sir, what I wanted to understand is that as on Q3 FY22, 58% of revenues in the Surface Express business was coming from key enterprise accounts. So, wanted to understand, as we ramp up our business, how do you see the revenue share coming from the three major revenue heads, that is your key enterprise accounts, SMEs, retail, and if you can specify a bit on the e-com policy, that would be great.
So the way I am directing my sales team is that by next year end, we should have a 50-30-20, which means 50% key account, 30% SME, and 20% retail. Yeah. As far as the e-com policy is concerned, at least for the next 12 months, we will not be doing any B2C e-com in Gati. I said that last time also. But we will do B2B e-com. So when I say B2B e-com, it involves two kinds of businesses. One is pick up from vendors and deliver to the e-commerce warehouses. And the second is pick up from e-commerce warehouses and returns going back to the vendors. So that business of e-commerce we will be doing, but we will not be doing the last mile delivery, which is B2C.
Right, sir. Got it, sir. And sir, my second question is that in the start of the call,
already.
Sorry, please come again.
I'm just joking. Please carry.
Yeah. So, sir, in the start of the call, you mentioned that there is going to be an aggressive rollout of our warehouse and transshipment expansion program. So, would it be possible for you to share as to what can be the total area under square feet which you intend to envisage or to roll out in next 2 to 3 years once the proposed layout is fully executed?
So, like I said, the first three, which is Farooq Nagar, Bombay and Bangalore, put together itself should be about 350,000 square feet. As we go into the smaller cities, the size of these transshipment hubs may go down to say about 75,000-80,000 square feet. If I were to take an average over the next 7-8 hubs, we are talking about at least anywhere about 250,000 3/4 of a million square feet.
Thank you, sir. My queries have been answered.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ankita Shah from Elara Securities Private Limited. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Sir, I wanted your thoughts on the realizations for the 9 months. So we've seen improvement in the Surface Express business, but there has been a decline in the Air Express business. So, how are you seeing realizations moving forward, and why has there been a decline in the Air Express? Although the top line growth is, volume growth is good in both the segments, but your thoughts on the realization part?
So Air Express is a business that is so small just now. So an individual customer can really influence my Air Express business going up and down. I wouldn't really be bothered about that right now because we are growing the Air Express business. Our Air Express business, as you can see, is at an average of 5 crores a month, right? So that's not really to be viewed that way, that the realization is down or up. The Surface Express business, our realization has remained constant. It has not really moved in a big way. And as we grow our MSME and retail business, the realization will only increase.
Okay. And you had mentioned in our last conversation that we take a tariff hike every year in the last quarter. So have you taken a hike in the fourth quarter now?
As we sit here in the month of February, we are rolling out a tariff hike.
Okay. And if you can share the quantum?
It differs from vertical to vertical.
Okay. And also, any update on the divestment of fuel pumps? And what is our total investment done in this segment?
Sorry, I couldn't get your question. Update on?
Divestment of fuel pumps. Fuel station.
Oh, yeah. So we have the 3 fuel pumps. The buyer is ready with us. It is only that this has to be taken up with the public sector organization for permissions, which is taking a bit longer than what we thought, but we definitely have a buyer who is ready to take them over.
So any timeline on when can you...
when you're dealing with the public sector, to give you a timeline would be very difficult for me, but we are trying our best to do it as soon as possible.
Okay. And this last one, what is that total investment that you've done in this?
Sorry, I'm not with you.
Total investment that you have done in this business segment.
So as you know, All Cargo has bought Gati lock, stock and barrel. So there is no investment specifically in this business that we have done.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to the next question. That is from the line of Dipesh from Equirus. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir. Thanks for taking my questions. Sir, last quarter, Mr. Ravi highlighted the one-off to the tune of rupees 5.2 crores on the consultancy charges, etc. So just wanted to know what's that number this quarter?
That's approximately 3 crores this quarter, and by March that will go up.
Okay, so the consultancy charges will go away, you're saying, from March. Okay.
Yes.
Understood. And sir, lastly on the standalone business, like the B2C business that you have in the standalone part, I think you used to share the volumes for the e-commerce logistics as well, but that slide is missing. So can you help me with the volumes in e-commerce logistics that you did in this quarter, and also why the EBIT level losses have increased while the total scale is reducing in this business?
So basically, like I said, after I came in and evaluated the strengths of Gati, I have almost now stopped the B2C e-commerce logistics business, and therefore you can see the numbers are also kind of going down. The only business left out over there is the B2B business in e-commerce, which we will look at now merging back into our normal surface or air express business, because it doesn't make sense to keep it separate. Therefore, the allocation of cost will stop and there will be a direct expenditure.
Okay, so you're saying merging this business into the GKEPL, right, where you have 70% stake?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Neelam Punjabi from Perpetuity Ventures. Please go ahead.
Thanks for the opportunity. Sir, delving further into one of the previous participants' questions, I just wanted to know what is our current annual lease payments, and with our future transshipment hubs becoming operational, by FY24, what could be the anticipated annual total lease payments? If you can just give us a ballpark number.
So our current annual lease payments would be to the tune of 60 odd crores. The ongoing ones with the new hubs coming in will be difficult for me to give right now, but as and when we keep on moving from our own to build-to-suit leased, we will be putting those out in our quarterly numbers.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sunil Kothari from Unique PMS. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity, sir. Can you, sir, repeat this annual lease payment currently? That is 60 crore, you say?
Annual.
And that is part of other expenses, right?
That will be in our admin cost.
Okay. And, sir, broadly, the way you presented and give a very detailed answer to our aspirational margin and revenue target, can you provide me a little bit granularity in terms of, say, next 12 months objective for maybe PBT margin or over 3-4 years? What type of PBT margin is possible in this business? Because, sir, my concern is your key accounts, you can't increase easily the prices, and your supplier, your vendors, you have to pass on the cost immediately to them because they are a small and very transporters, small fleet owners. So combining all this situation, we would like to understand what type of PBT margin is possible in this business, and to achieve those, what we supposed to do over the next 12 months or 18 months. Thanks a lot, sir.
We have already, over the past 18 months, given you all a guidance that we are looking at an EBITDA of 12%, right? So that is what we are striving towards. The main component of our cost is the operational cost, which is our pickup, delivery, and line haul cost. And that is where we have to work to get efficiencies in all three of them such that we can increase our gross margins, of course, with a combination on the yields that we get from our customers. To respond to your question about key accounts not being able to increase the yields, I don't think that is true. It is about giving them the right service and going back to them and saying, hey guys, if you want this level of service, this is the price that you have to pay for it. A lot of customers would be willing to do that because in Surface Express, it is not a huge increase that you're talking about with a customer, right? The yields are around 13-14 rupees a kilo, then even if you're increasing 10%, it is like increasing hardly 14 paise. So that is a change in mix, which I spoke about earlier, where we increase our share in our revenue of MSME and retail, will make sure that our gross margins go up to the required. Like I said, as we grow the business and our gross margins grow up, we leverage our fixed cost, which is not going to keep growing according to the increase in revenues. Achieve the 10 to 12% EBITDA margin should be the first target for us.
That is feasible in next 12 months, sir?
We have given you that area of 12 to 18 months, so we will do that.
Right. Sir, one clarification. Somebody replied on one query's response that this lease rent will be debited after EBITDA. So just again wanted to clarify, this will be the part of administrative expense, and after EBITDA there will be only interest and depreciation.
Correct. So under Ind AS, you need to calculate the leases over the useful life of and capitalize them and then put depreciation below EBITDA.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rohit from Samatva Investments. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. I just had one question on the all-cargo logistics part. All-cargo being a huge 3PL player, and there can be significant express business for us coming from them. Has there been any synergies that they have been able to pass on to us, and anything in terms of numbers that you could share?
So as we sit here, there is a group-wide cross-sell and upsell program that goes on between the sales teams of All Cargo, EQ and Gati. It has already started green shoot results for us, and we believe that this program will generate a lot of business for us. As far as numbers are concerned, I cannot share any numbers right now with you, but as this program matures, we will look at sharing some pointers.
Great, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be taking the last question. That is in the line of Ankita Shah from Elara Securities Private Limited. Please go ahead.
Sir, just one clarification. If you can share the mix of B2B, B2C in the standalone business?
Very difficult for me to do that because we don't do B2C business. However, it would be wrong on my part to say B2C is zero because some of the retail business which we pick up could end up being a delivery to a individual. So, for example, we have a product called motorcycle movement. So that could be a kind of a delivery at a C location, but very small. I haven't even myself calculated how much B2C. You can safely assume that our B2B would be above 95%, if not more, of our business.
Got it. Just that one clarification. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the last question. I now have the conference over to Ms. Ankita Shah for the closing comments.
Thank you to all participants and management for taking out time, and to the management for giving us the opportunity to host this call. Sir, do you want to add any closing remarks?
So nothing but just to say thank you to everyone, and I hope we have been able to answer all questions appropriately. Should you need any further clarification or would like to know more about the company, please feel free to contact either our team or SGA. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Elara Securities Private Limited, that concludes this conference call. We thank you for